Welcome to our lecture on care and renovations of textiles. So since the viewership of these videos are really small, if any, I'm just going to go through very quickly some main points and make sure that you read all the lecture slides, okay? So garment labeling, we start off with that, and just know in the next lecture we'll talk more about that. Just so you know, it is required by the government, and the idea is to protect the consumer from their purchase, but also how to properly care for the garment so it lasts. Two main types of laundering, washing or dry cleaning. Now the requirements that need to be mentioned, the washing, so whether it's machine wash, hand or dry clean, temperature, hot, warm or cold, the cycle for the washing machine, so delicate, permanent press, normal cycle, bleaching instructions, so if it can take bleach or if it can only take non-chlorine bleach or do not bleach at all. Drying method, so can it be tumble dry, line dry, flat dry, drip dry. Temperatures in the drying method. Ironing, can you iron or what temperature, so cool iron or warm iron or hot iron, and any warnings that do not iron on the decoration, for example. So I gave you a link so you can take a look at the symbols, and this is just a kind of snapshot. There's actually a lot more. The main symbols: washing, bleaching, which is a triangle, drying, ironing, and dry clean, and you do have to know these because you will be tested on these for your final exam. And if there's a crossover, it means do not do whatever that symbol is. You have the symbols and then you have more things to it. So for example, for temperature, we have the little dots that will signify temperature, and the more dots, the higher temperature water it can handle. Bleach, only non-chlorine, is 2 lines inside the triangle. Tumble dry cycles has the circle inside of the square, and the dots, obviously the more dots means higher temperature. If it's solid, if it's no dots but it's empty, any heat. If it's filled in, no heat or air. And for ironing, again, the dots mean temperature. And for dry clean, there's A for any solvent, P for any solvent except for trichloroethylene, and F for petroleum solvent only. And dry clean has the little lines for low heat or no steam finishing, etc. So determining washing instructions. So one thing that you have to figure out is the soil type. So if it's water soluble or not water soluble. So water soluble can be dissolved and removed by submerging in water. So things like soda and coffee stains, those are water soluble soils. So you can wash them and they'll go away. Now non-water soluble would be like fruit and vegetable staining, and it's removed with detergent or soap and heat and certain levels of heat. When you're laundering, you have to know what you're actually doing. And laundering is the most common method of cleaning textiles, right? Actual laundering. So using water and cleansers to remove the stain or the soil. The solvent is water, and organic solvents are used in dry cleaning. When you're washing, regular washing, you're using water as a solvent, and when you're dry cleaning, you're using organic solvents. So when you're using detergent, cleaning up, you're either going to use soap or detergent. You can add soap or detergent to a solvent. So for example, water. Water is a solvent, so it lowers the surface tension and allows the fabric to get wet more quickly, and then you can clean it. Soap or detergent molecules basically have an affinity for organic soils, and basically they draw them up or dislodge them, and it allows for you to clean your garments. But the cleaning process itself decreases the surface tension of the water, so it wets fabric faster. So that's the idea. And it allows for water to penetrate, and then the molecules in the soap or detergent, they penetrate, they dislodge the soil from the fabric. They prevent the soil from being redeposited, because that's another thing. Once it dislodges the soil, it comes out. You don't want it to be floating in the water and then go back in. So the idea is to prevent it from being redeposited. Where it can get redeposited, if there's not enough detergent, because there needs to be detergent in the solvent, in the water. So once the molecules go in there, you need to make sure there's enough in the water so it doesn't allow the soils to be redeposited. So the solvents, the most common that we use is water. Water is the most common solvent, and why? It's because it's cheap, it's available virtually anywhere and everywhere, non-toxic, requires no special equipment typically to get it. Of course, there are exceptions, right? But for the most part. So what controls how effective it is as a solvent? How the hardness of the water, the temperature, and the volume effect in the cleaning. Other solvents that you can use, organic, so that's used for dry cleaning. Spot removal or spotting agents, I always call PERC or PCE. That's the most common for dry cleaning, and the idea is that it dissolves oils, any grease, and other stubborn stains. So cleansers, there's two categories. There's soap or detergent. So soap is basically sodium salt as a fatty acid, cleans well in soft water. It's less effective in hard water. So that's why soaps are very hard when you don't have a water softener, and that's why detergent tends to work best no matter what. It can work with hard water. The problem with hard water is it has a high concentration of dissolved minerals, so it makes soap very less effective. So unless you have a really good water softener at home, and even then it doesn't guarantee anything, but a good water softener will help, but if not, you have to use detergent. Now you do have varieties, non-toxic, phosphate-free, biodegradable. You now have the free and clear where it's like free of perfumes and dyes. You have the all-in-ones. We do also have things you can buy over the counter that are additives, so they help improve cleaning. Surfactants, so it basically reduce surface tension, allow water to penetrate, so they allow for better cleaning. We have bleach. A bleach pen, we have bleach powder, bleach in liquid, we have chlorine and non-chlorine bleach. We also have fluorescent brighteners, like that's that OxyClean for like whites. It's basically fluorescent brighteners, so it brightens your whites without actual bleach. There's water softener, fabric softener, starches, pre-treatments like shout. So there's tons of things that you can use. Now, how it works and how things last will depend on how you take care of it. So if it has dyes or pigments, what's the fabrication, knit or woven, a tight knit or loose knit, high gauge versus low gauge, and woven, is it loosely woven or is it a tighter weave? And fabric, and finish, so chemical finishes that it has, and also, the construction of the product, tight, compact seams or loose seams, things like that. Other materials like trims, all the support materials, so the zippers, the trims, the lacings, buttons, linings. Also the actual stain, the type of soil, and how badly it's stained. Also how long it's been there. The sooner you get to a stain, this is common sense, but the sooner you get to the stain, the better. The longer it's been there, the harder it is to get rid of. Make sure that basic rules of laundering, make sure you sort. So you sort by color, but that's the one that most people know. Sort by, whites in one, and darks in the other, or colors in the other. But you can sort even further by type of garment. So for example, work garments versus delicate garments. Also type of soil and recommended care methods. Sometimes they say only wash with light colors, propensity to fabric to lint. So there's certain things that will release a lot of lint, so you'll only wash those by themselves or with like items. So things to do to keep your laundry your clothing from lasting longer. So these are things for you to do, and also things you can suggest to a customer base, but close, zippers, and buttons, because you avoid snagging that way. Close your zippers. Check pockets for things that are in there. Have you washed stuff when there was Kleenex? I do that all the time because my son, I'm in a hurry, and he leaves his Kleenex in there. Check for stains, holes, tears, and repairs, because if there's a hole or tear and you just throw it in the wash, you can actually make the hole bigger. In terms of washing machines, just know all the new machines allow for easy use, and they have predetermined wash cycles. Just make sure you follow the instructions. There's top loading machines and front loading machines. Now the top loading machines have a vertical access. They're efficient. They use a lot of water, and they use a lot of energy with every load. So the water and the energy usage per load is pretty high. The front-loading machines has a larger capacity because it doesn't have the agitator, but it uses less water, which is good. Cannot open mid-cycle, which is a problem. If you forget you want to add something while the cycle already started, you can't do that, and you can't dry out between loads. So that's a problem for the front loading. For drying, you can remove solvents from textiles. The recommended procedures generally specified on label. So machine drying, most severe due to abrasion and agitation. Other options that use less energy but more individual effort and time. Hang dry, line dry, inside or outside, drying flat, steam dryers. There's vent-free dryers. That's one of the things that you do have to understand, is that you really have to look at what's the recommended drying procedure, because a lot of it, the heat can shrink it. Most people put it in high heat and they just throw it in there. There's just a lot of agitation. It keeps tumbling. Those clothes are basically rubbing against each other over and over and over for 45 minutes to an hour. And that causes more damage. It causes breakage of the fibers. It causes more shrinkage and fading. So if you can line dry, air dry, lay flat to dry. Dry cleaning solvents other than water are used to remove soil in dry cleaning, and these solvents are liquid. Most people think dry cleaning means it's dry. No. There's a liquid. It's not water. Now, due to toxicity concerns, we now have more solvent that are in use for dry cleaning. So we have several. We do have special cleaning chemicals for leather and fur because you need to be able to remove soil without ruining the dye or the finish. And you need to restore the oils that help clean, that help the cleaning process. So you do need someone who's professional, who's experienced. And I gave you a link so you can take a look at the dry cleaning process. It's really cool. It's a really, really short video. Take a look at it. And I like this because this gives you an infographic on how the process works for dry cleaning. So please take a look at it. We do have an at-home version of it, which is like Dryrel, for example, or Woolite, where it doesn't clean. It's not the greatest for stains, but if you don't want to save yourself a trip to the cleaners, you just want to freshen up a little bit, those are good. They do come with a stain removal solution. It's better to have a professional, but also pre-treat and test for color fastness. It's kind of iffy on silks, so you have to be really careful with that. But you stick it in a bag and you have this moist cloth that releases the steam and it'll freshen it up. Also, storage will matter, how your clothes will last and they're taken care of. Appearance and quality and performance will matter based on your storage. So just think, if you incorrectly store your garments, you can permanently set wrinkles, you can discolor, it could transfer print or dye. You can get damage from insects like moths. And some you need mothballs or heat and acid degradation. Things to think about. So storing is hanging versus folding. In terms of cleaning carpet and upholstery, obviously the first thing is vacuuming. Always, always, always first vacuum. It uses suction to pull the soil from the carpet, at least the loose soil, and upholstered furniture also vacuum or wall or window covering. Then if there's a stain, you can do wet cleaning or dry foam cleaning. Wet cleaning uses water-based detergents, and it could be, in foam form, and it's powder, and then you add water to it, or use an actual detergent, and it does have extended drying times. It does take a while, so it's recommended that you wash these during hot climate, so it dries faster. Dry foam cleaning is done by hand with foam spray. Use an agitator. The best thing that's worked. I have a dog. I have kids. 4 boys. Those spot remover where it has the rotating brush. You use one of these foam sprays and then you use one of those machines, and they tend to be the best. But there's hot water extraction. That's where you actually you rent like a rug doctor and then use hot water, and you inject hot water into the carpet and remove. There's also absorbent powder cleaning and ultrasonic cleaning. So this one's new. It uses high frequency sound waves to attract the soil and remove it from the carpet fibers. And actually they're trying to do ultrasonic for like hand washing. So take a look at this. There's portable versions. They say it's great. It doesn't clean as good as the video says it does, but it's interesting, and it's only going to get better in the next couple of years. They're already improving upon what you're seeing here. But take a look at it and look at the process. It's really interesting, using technology to clean. So that concludes our lecture. Thanks for listening.